Well, your Vietnam veterans are going to be standing here in a minute. Those of you that can.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's promotion ceremony in honor of Colonel VIET LUONG. Hosting today's ceremony is the 3 Corps Fort Hood Commanding General, Lieutenant General Mark Milley, assisted by Commanding Sergeant Major Antonio Dunstan. Today's honor guard is provided by the 1st Cavalry Division Commandant. Specialist Brian Garcia is holding our nation's colors. Music for today's ceremony is provided by the 1st Cavalry Division Band, led by CW5 Jeannie Pace. The salute battery for today's ceremony is provided by 382 Field Artillery, 2nd Brigade Combat Team, and led by 2nd Lieutenant Grant Tusek. At this time, we would like to recognize all mayors, general officers, command sergeants major, good neighbors, distinguished guests, family, and friends of the 1st Cavalry Division. Thank you for attending. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the invocation by Chaplain Cantrell and remain standing for the nation.
Let us pray. Gracious Lord, we pause to acknowledge you and to lift up the 1st Cavalry Division Deputy Commanding General Maneuver, Colonel Notable VIET LUONG. Today, as we witness and celebrate his historic promotion to the rank of Brigadier General, we ask you to continue giving him the courage, wisdom, and knowledge to lead America's first team at Fort Hood, Texas. May you continue empowering him to lead soldiers and their family members with a clear and inspiring vision, a caring heart, and the character needed to withstand the greatest obstacles he and the division may face in the days to come. May you also richly bless his wife, Kim, mother, Kathy, children, Ashley, Brandon, Justin, all of his sisters, and other family members and friends for their unwavering support and sacrifice. Most of all, may you supernaturally bless and protect our dedicated, deployed soldiers who are serving around the world, literally keeping our great country safe, strong, and free. It's in your name I pray. Amen.
Please be seated. At this time, Special Exposement is presenting a basket of carrots to the Horse Cavalry Detachment as a token of appreciation. The presentation of roses is a long-standing cavalry tradition. Today, the roses are delivered by Trooper Gasparo, riding waiting. At this time, Colonel LUONG will present the remaining flowers to his mother, Kathy. His wife, Kimberly, and his daughter, Ashley. He is also presenting gifts to his sons, Brandon and Justin, for all of their support during Colonel LUONG's service over the last 26 years. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor to present the host for today's ceremony, the 3 Corps and Fort Hood Commanding General, Lieutenant General Mark Milley.
Hey, good morning to everyone. How are you all? All right, and a great Texas welcome to everyone. And this is a great day, not just a great day for VIET and his family, but a great day for America, a great day for the United States Army, and a great day for Fort Hood. For today, we honor and promote the first Vietnamese American to make flag rank, general officer rank in the United States military and in the United States Army. So VIET, we could not be more proud of you and your family, of your entire accomplishment and your entire life story than we are today. We do want to welcome some special people that are here today. On my left, our distinguished visitors from Fort Hood and Central Texas, many of whom themselves are veterans of the Vietnam War. General Shoemaker is here, as always, so thank you so much for coming. And along with him is Lieutenant General Retired Taylor, both of whom served in the jungles, the rice paddies, and the highlands of Vietnam. Honorable Jean Shine is here. She's our civilian assistant to the Secretary of the Army. And her husband, Bill, was a young lieutenant and later captain, also serving in Vietnam. Ed Mullen is here, who served with the 1st Cavalry Division in Vietnam, and many, many other Vietnam veterans. Thank you all for coming. And for those of you who served under the uniform of the United States military in any capacity in the Vietnam War, would you please stand to be recognized? And on my right, you will see a wide variety of distinguished visitors, many of whom also served in combat in the war in Vietnam. We have representatives of the ARVN, the Army of Vietnam, of the Republic of Vietnam. We have Vietnamese commandos, Vietnamese Rangers, Vietnamese Marines, Vietnamese Navy. And one of VIET's uncles are here, who was also a Vietnamese Ranger, and his U.S. advisor is with him immediately to my right. So for those on the right who served in the Vietnam War, would you please rise to be recognized? And next year, 2015, marks the 40th anniversary of the communist takeover of Saigon in 1975. And it's really there that the story of VIET LUONG begins. But I have to start a little earlier than that. I have to start with VIET's father and mother, who were born and raised in North Vietnam. And his father joined the French commandos in the early 1950s, and then later served in the Marine Commandos, the Vietnamese Marine Commandos in South Vietnam after North Vietnam fell to the communists, and his father and mother emigrated to the South to avoid the communist tyranny that was taking hold in the North. And then later, they began to have children. And in the front row, you see many of those children. In fact, there's 7 sisters here. And as I am told, they are all called Ming. And they are numbered. Viet numbers his sisters, Ming 1 through 7. And I am told that because Mom and Dad were working so hard and Dad was fighting in the war, the oldest sister, Ming 1, was the one who performed all the motherly duties and instilled the discipline and the honor and the integrity that VIET has so far exemplified in the United States Army. So for the 7 sisters, if you could all stand to be recognized as well. And which one's Ming number 1? There you are. All right, I got some stories on you. So then we also have here Viet's wife, Kim, who's also in the front row. You just saw her get some roses. And Viet's immediate family, his daughter and 2 sons. His daughter, Ashley, who is at Baylor. She's a sophomore at Baylor studying pre-law. And we look forward to seeing her become a lawyer here after she attends Columbia Law School, which is her aspiration. Brandon, who is 17, currently honor student at Killeen High School. He's got almost a 4.0 GPA. He wavers sometimes between being an infantry officer, being a professional athlete, or being a doctor, and we'll see what direction it all takes him. And then Justin, the youngest son, is 14, also an honor student. He is also a freshman at Killeen High School, doing great, and he hasn't decided on what his career path is going to do. But we are confident that Ashley, Brandon, and Justin will all meet the great success that their father has also done. Viet's mother is also here, Kathy. She's the matriarch, and her claim to fame is not just Viet, but successfully has raised 8 children, escaped from Vietnam, and brought them up as American citizens, and every single one of them went to college. So Kathy, thanks so much for what you've done. You are truly an inspiration to all of us. And unfortunately, Viet's father, who's passed on, he's quite a hero. This man that I've never met, that most of us have never met, but had an incredible impact on all of the people that you see here today. After he and his wife escaped North Vietnam to South Vietnam, he settled the family in Saigon, and then he began to fight as part of the South Vietnamese Marines. At only 2 years old, the Tet Offensive for Viet is a real thing in his mind. At 2 years old, Viet experienced the Tet Offensive while his father was fighting in the northern provinces. In February of 1975, Viet remembers his father having taken a long tour around the country as a special assistant to the commandant of the South Vietnamese Marines. And his father coming back in February saying he thought the country would probably fall in April. And he began to make plans for the family's escape. At first, they decided that the entire family would leave. Second course of action was just the father would leave, and he would take 2 sisters and the son in order to continue the family lineage in another country. The third course of action was the father would leave the family and go to the jungle to fight the communists by himself. Luckily, none of those courses of action had to happen because Viet's father met a civilian operator, a U.S., named Mike Casey, and he promised to get the entire family out of the country. On 28 April 1975, at Tan Son Nhut Airport, Saigon, young Viet Long, merely 10 years old, and his father and his mother, and all of his sisters were enduring bombardments that quickly deteriorated the situation outside in the streets as the enemy closed in on Tan Son Nhut. On 29 April 1975, the next day, the Operation Frequent Wind, a United States evacuation of Vietnam, began. And it kicked into motion the entire power of the United States military to evacuate the friends of the United States who had served us in that war. The United States Marines, United States Air Force, United States Army, and United States Navy would all participate in that operation. They would eventually fly 609 Marine and Air Force CH-53s and CH-46s, 609 sorties, airlifting tens of thousands of Vietnamese from South Vietnam and bring them aboard the ships of the 7th Fleet. And many in this crowd remember those days explicitly. On the 29th, young VIET and his family marched aboard one of the last CH-53s with only a briefcase and the essential documents and a couple $100 US on hand. And that is all they had. That is all the mother, the father, the 7 sisters, and VIET. That's all they had. And then their helicopter climbed to altitude, and they watched as enemy tracers passed by their aircraft, and the U.S. door gunner returned fire. And soon they would land aboard the USS Hancock. And after making their way to a refugee camp in Arkansas, VIET's father told young VIET that the U.S. Hancock meant that his family would never get shot at again. He settled in Arkansas initially at a refugee camp, and then the father decided he would make his way to California, and the family settled in LA. And he had one goal in mind: to work hard, assimilate his children into the American society, and achieve some success for all of his children. And Mom and Dad worked day in, day out, both of them putting in 80-hour weeks, and every one of their kids went to college. And VIET and his sisters are Americans now by choice, and he has served this great nation honorably over the last many decades, arriving only as a 9-year-old child, growing up in LA, going to the University of Southern California, graduating in 1987, and then serving as an infantry officer ever since. He is deployed on multiple tours, in Haiti, Iraq on multiple tours, and in Afghanistan on multiple tours. He has commanded our most elite forces, a battalion in the 82nd Airborne Division, and a brigade in the 101st Airborne Division. And then he has served most recently as our Deputy Commanding General for Maneuver of the 1st Cavalry Division. There is no one in uniform today that epitomizes what it takes to be an American soldier more than Viet Long. He has demonstrated over years of service exceptional competence, but that's not all it is. It's much more than that to be a general officer and to be an American soldier. He has also demonstrated immense courage from his early youth in Saigon and the escape, the courage to assimilate into a foreign country not speaking a lick of English, and the courage to be a soldier for so many decades. But he has also demonstrated his commitment to freedom, his commitment to democracy, his commitment to the United States is unwavering and deeper than any other person I've ever met. And lastly, Viet Long demonstrates character. He has the integrity, the moral courage to speak truth to power, and he has the intestinal fortitude to constantly do the right thing when no one's watching and it would be easy to do the wrong thing. Viet Long epitomizes all that we want in a commissioned officer, in a soldier, and in a general officer of the United States Army. Viet, I can't tell you how proud I am today and how humbled I am just to be in your presence. Your story is inspiring to all of us. And on behalf of everyone here, both your family, the veterans of Vietnam, and all of the soldiers in the 1st Cavalry Division, and indeed in our entire Army, we want to congratulate you on your promotion to Brigadier General. We want to welcome you into the General Officer Corps, and we look for great things from you in the future. So thanks, Viet, Phantom Warrior, 1st Cav.
The first general officer insignia in the Continental Army was established by General Order on 14 July 1775, which stated, "To prevent mistakes, the general officers and their aides-de-camp will be distinguished in the following manner: the commander-in-chief by a light blue ribbon worn across his breast between his coat and waistcoat, the brigadiers and brigadier generals by a pink ribbon worn in like manner." The Continental Army authorized the general officer insignia on 18 June 1780, when it was prescribed that brigadier generals would wear 2 stars on each epaulette. During this portion of the ceremony, please remain seated. Attention to orders. The President of the United States has reposed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, valor, fidelity, and abilities of VIET LUONG. In view of these qualities and his demonstrated potential for increased responsibility, he is, therefore, promoted in the United States Army from Colonel to Brigadier General, effective the 6th day of August 2014, by order of John McHugh, Secretary of the Army. Brigadier General Luong's wife, Mrs. Kimberly Luong, will replace the rank of Colonel with the rank of Brigadier General on his coat. And his son Brandon has now replaced his blessing. At this time, Lieutenant General Milley will present the General Officer belt to Brigadier General Luong. Originally, the leather belt was used for mounting one's sword. It later became a pistol belt. In today's Army, the black leather pistol belt worn on the outside of the Army combat uniform identifies the wearer as a general officer. The large brass buckle bears the coat of arms of the United States. Commanding Sergeant Major Antonio Dunston will now encase the 1-star General Officer flag. All Army officers take the oath of office when they receive their commission. It is customary for officers to retake the oath each time they are promoted. The oath of office acknowledges the responsibility, service, and sacrifice given to the country, the mission, family, and fellow soldiers and civilians. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, Lieutenant General Milley will administer the oath of office to Brigadier General LUONG.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do the U.S. Commissioned Officer Oath of Office. And I'd ask that for those of you who are commissioned in the United States military in any capacity or have ever been commissioned, just silently say the oath to yourself as we administer it to VIET LUONG, to General Officer. And I would just tell everybody that this oath is very special, that the United States military, that our officers, our non-commissioned officers, and our soldiers, we swear an oath of allegiance. We don't swear an oath of allegiance to a king. We don't swear an oath of allegiance to a queen. We don't swear an oath of allegiance to a government. We swear an oath of allegiance to an idea that is embodied in the Constitution of the United States, that guarantees you the freedom of religion, that guarantees you the freedom of speech, that guarantees all of us due process of law and the right to live a life that is free of tyranny. It is a Constitution that was paid for in blood, that continues to be paid for in blood. And I would ask that all of you just remember that as we go ahead and administer this oath to VIET.
While the notes may have changed through the years, ruffles and flourishes have been played to herald the arrival of dignitaries since the earliest times, long before our nation and our army came into being. The number of ruffles and flourishes played denotes the rank or status of the dignitary. In addition, ruffles and flourishes are always accompanied with the appropriate honors music. In today's ceremony, the General's March. Since the 17th century, the firing of cannons in salute to a senior official or statesman has been an established honor. Always an odd number, the number of rounds fired is determined according to the rank of the person being honored. Lieutenant General Milley has deferred honors to Brigadier General LUONG. Therefore, 11 rounds will be fired in honor of Brigadier General LUONG. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and wear the appropriate courtesies for the presentation of honors. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Deputy Commanding General of Maneuvers for the 1st Cavalry Division, Brigadier General VIET LUONG.
Distinguished guests, friends, and family, thank you for gracing us with your presence here today. First off, I want to thank Lieutenant General Promotable Milley for his generous remarks and taking the time right before his own change of command to promote me here today. This is certainly a momentous event for my family in the Vietnamese diaspora. But my journey from a refugee child to Deputy Commanding General of the storied 1st Cavalry Division is in as much a story of our great nation and our Constitution. It is a story of liberty, freedom, equality, and the American dream. Like all Vietnamese immigrants to this country, my love for America is without boundary. Perhaps this love is best articulated in the words of Michael Shara in describing Colonel Chamberlain of the 20th Maine in the book Killer Angel, and I quote, "His faith in this country is stronger than his faith in God, because this is the land where no man had to bow," end of quote. True to the spirit, many Vietnamese Americans have answered the call of duty here as Americans. 13 men have made the ultimate sacrifice in Iraq and Afghanistan. Many more dozens wounded. I think I have some of my wounded warrior brothers here with me here today. It is a fairly heavy price for a relatively small portion of the population. In short, we're American by birth. We're not American by birth, but by choice. However, when it comes to defending our great nation and the Constitution, we won't take a back seat to anybody. Being promoted to flag rank today is no doubt a great honor for me and my family. I'll be the first to tell you that this long journey had been arduous and that I could not have been successful without the support from many people along the way. There are too many to thank today, but I would like to take this opportunity to recognize some, because it's a proper thing to do. First and foremost, I want to express my sincere gratitude to my non-commissioned officers and soldiers. They have made the most significant impact on my career. Without them, I'm nothing. I lost many good men in combat in Afghanistan and Iraq. Sadly, way too many to list. Their selfless sacrifice allows us to be here today, and in the words of MacArthur in his famous speech, quote, "I do not know the dignity of their birth, but I do know the glory of their death." So every day, I strive to be the best leader I can be, knowing that others have nobly laid down their lives for us. In the same famous speech, MacArthur also said, quote, "I know when I cross the river, my last conscious thoughts will be of the Corps, and the Corps, and the Corps," end of quote. Well, I'll be the first to admit that, since English is my second language, I'm not blessed with Olympian rhetoric or vice-regal stature. However, when I finally cross this river, the last conscious thoughts will be my family and those great troopers I lost in combat. The next group I want to recognize are the leaders I have served with here today. And again, there's way too many to list, but I do want to recognize and single out General Shoemaker, General Retired Shoemaker, who's here with us today, former Commander of Forces Command, former 3 Corps Commander, former 1st Cavalry Division Commander in Vietnam, as well as a World War II vet. Sir, you are a national treasure, and it is an honor every day to be around you. Thank you, Lieutenant General Promoter Milley, for taking the time to preside over my ceremony. Sir, everything I told you last night at my farewell, at your farewell, came from the heart, and that was on behalf of our troopers. Thank you for your leadership. It's a great day for our Army as you continue to move on and assume greater responsibility through your promotion as the next Forces Command Commander. To our Commanding General, Major General Mike Bill, he's currently deployed right now. I understand he may be listening in from Afghanistan with my Ranger buddy, Brigadier General Doug Gabram, and Command Sergeant Major Bardicke and Steve Gillen. To you, General Bills, thank you for the trust and confidence and the fact that you lead by example and are willing to underwrite mistakes. The CSA told us at a conference last week that competence does not override character. Well, here in the 1st Cav, we don't have to worry about that because I think General Bills has both, and we're pretty blessed to be working for him. Lastly, there's one leader here. I want to publicly thank Colonel Retired Mike Kershaw. Sir, out of all the leaders I have the privilege of serving with, you have singularly contributed more to my development as a leader. Thank you. To my friends and comrades, thank you for your patience and friendship. Many could not be here today due to their busy schedules, but I have a few here. Mark Edmonds has been a Ranger buddy for a long, long time. Forrest Carpenter, Jim Sizemore, Chris Jocelyn, Keith Gogas, Bobby Woodlock. Thank you for watching my flanks all these years. And I do want to recognize my lifelong and best friend from college who Just got here this morning, flying on out to talk. Good to see you. Also an infantry officer and graduated from USC with me. To our veterans, thank you for your undying love and support. I had the privilege of speaking at the 1st Cavalry Union several weeks ago. It was a rare opportunity for me to speak about what their Vietnam service meant to the free world and a chance to personally thank them for their service and sacrifice. They are now part of my extended family. I would be remiss not to address our veterans of the Vietnamese Armed Forces and our leaders from the Vietnamese American communities. My Uncle Vu, sitting there in the second row, is here with me today. Uncle Vu was a major in the South Vietnamese Army, interned in Communist re-education camp 13 years. His older brother, Uncle Juan, who cannot be here with us today, Ranger Lieutenant, initially served a 2-year sentence because he was too junior to incur a heavier price. But after his release, he was captured, again, accused of sedition and producing anti-government propaganda, and he went on to serve a total of 17 years in re-education camp. My mom's younger brother, Uncle Zoom, could not be here with us today. He's a wounded warrior, severely wounded in 1971. Amazingly, Vietnamese Army, but he was with 1st Cav when his bird was shot down, so we've come full circle. And finally, my Uncle Lat here. He's in the 3rd row. He was a battalion commander in the Vietnamese Airborne Division, operated in every major combat operations in Vietnam. And sitting next to him is his advisor, or one of his advisors, Gary Willis, from the story MACV, Team 162, sir. Good to have you here. His other advisors included some of the folks you may know. General Retired Barry McCaffrey, Lieutenant General Retired Jim Vault, who passed away last year, but he's the father of JSOC, and then Lieutenant General Retired Joseph Kinzer. So just to show you how we've come full circle, when I took command of the Rakkasans, 3rd Brigade of the 101st, General Kinzer was my honorary colonel of the regiment. So in short, you know, freedom is not free for any of us, and particularly for my family, but we are willing to do it all again if we had to. So I do want to ask for your patience as I address this group of gallant veterans from the Vietnamese Armed Forces, and I'll speak in Vietnamese, so don't freak out. Những lãnh đạo cộng đồng và các anh em quân lực Việt Nam Cộng Hòa, sự hiện diện của quý khách là một vinh dự lớn cho gia đình tôi. Tôi biết cũng rất nhiều người đã phải lặn đận đường xa đến dự buổi tiệc hôm nay. Nhìn những bộ quân phục, lòng tôi thật bùi ngùi xót xa. Những người đã làm con tim tôi rung động về 3 chữ: danh dự, trách nhiệm, tổ quốc, và những ý nghĩa của những câu dặn dò cha ông để lại như Nam Quốc Sơn Hà, Nam Đế Cư. Dĩ đại, nghĩa nhi, thắng hung tàn, dĩ trí, nhân nhi, dị cường bạo. Chính là thân phụ tôi, một đồng đội của các anh. Thì vì vậy, một nửa con tim tôi lúc nào cũng hướng về đất mẹ, dù đã 30 năm xa cách. Không có sự hy sinh xương máu của các anh thì chúng tôi chắc chắn cũng không có ngày hôm nay. Tổ quốc mãi mãi ghi ơn. Vậy, tôi xin các anh nhận cái chào của tôi. And finally, to my family, first and foremost, my dad, who's no longer with us, but he's here in spirit. Everything I've learned about duty, honor, country, sacrifice, and selfless service, I've learned from my dad. Didn't get a chance to see him before he died. We were prepping for Bosnia, and he told me it was the right thing for me to do, to stay in the field. So he passed away the day I came out, and I never got a chance to tell him thank you. But Dad, thank you. Here's to you. And to Mom, thank you for your lifetime of sacrifice, your guiding hand, and the values you have inculcated in all of us. To my sisters and their families, I could not have done it without you. You know that. A couple of my brothers-in-law are here, Alan and Byron. Thank you very much. And all my nieces and nephews, thank you as well for your love and support. To Kim's brothers and sisters, thank you for your love and enduring support over the years. You've certainly made me feel welcome as part of your family. And to my wonderful children, Ashley, Brandon, and Justin, you make me so proud to be your dad. I'm particularly blessed to have children of your values and virtues. And that's the best gift that you can give Dad. And lastly, but most important, Kim, the love of my life, I can never repay you for all you've done for me and my soldiers. For that, I dedicate this promotion to you. Love you with all my heart. Again, this has been a great honor and privilege for me. My deep appreciation to the 1st Cav Band, our wonderful color guard, the Horse Detachment, and troopers from Alpha Battery, 3rd Battalion, 82nd FA, Blackjack. My pledge to you is that I'll continue to lead from the front with humility and respect and take care of our great troopers. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. 1st Team, Phantom Warrior, Army Strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, please render proper honors as the colors exit and remain standing for the playing and singing of Spirit of the Cav and the Army Song.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, in the finest tradition of the cavalry, a cavalry
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. On behalf of Brigadier General LUONG and family, thank you for attending. Please join the LUONG family on the 1st Cavalry Division patch for congratulatory greetings. A reception follows at the division headquarters, South Foyer. Thank you again for attending today's ceremony.
So how long you been in Queens or where? About a year.